Alright, this is part two. In the last episode, we left off when I was talking about how do we all have the right to be healthy? Is it our right, you know, to have insurance to be able to go to a hospital when something's wrong and know that we're healthy? Is it alright? I mean, the fact that someone who's in prison has better health care, like has is like his health is better than mine, really pisses me off. The fact that I don't mean okay, they're in jail, whatever. They don't have freedom, but they're healthy. I mean, you can't treat them bad. You can't not take care of them. That would be inhumane. But your own citizens, it's okay. I don't know about that. I mean, I may be off about that, but I don't think that in jail they just let you suffer because that really would be inhumane. And people wouldn't like that and just a whole bunch of bullshit. But me here, I should because what? It's just real frustrating. I have a cousin. There, I mean, I don't know their situation completely, but he was sick, and I know my mom was telling me how that in our where everyone can't afford, because I can't say exactly that I'm in that situation that I can't afford it, but it's pricey. It's pricey. It's very pricey. It might it, you have to make that decision. It's worth it. Can I struggle through it? That's the kind of situation I'm in. And she was saying how they don't want to take their children to the hospital all the time for every little thing because they have to pay for it, and so they'll sometimes just something that they should maybe check up on, they just let it go and be like, we're really really sick. So he was really sick, but they weren't really ready to believe him, and they're just hoping he'll just clear up on his own. Now he's throwing up blood, so they take him to the hospital. Now I think my mom said swine flu, but she doesn't really know. I don't. I'm not willing to believe it was swine flu, but she says they said that it was swine flu, and they had gave him surgery and all this stuff, and the surgery probably wasn't even needed, but they didn't really know what was going on, so they had a surgery probably for preventive reasons or to help stabilize something. I don't know. And the thing the point was, this could all be prevented if they had an insurance that they could depend on, and from the onset of like the symptoms, they could have taken him, and everything could have been prevented. They would have known what was happening, and it wouldn't have to be up to the point where he was bleeding, throwing up blood, that he had to go there, and then he had to be taken to ER, and ER charges are just, uh like, and he had surgery, like that's ridiculous. And I think in the end, we prevent a lot of stuff from happening, like just everything will be everyone will be healthier because a lot of things that could be prevented or noticed earlier on will be noticed. If you have your annual checkups and you just go boom boom boom, there'll be no reason for things to just pop up on you out of nowhere, and it's terminal now. If you had universal healthcare where it's an option where you could just go when you need to, no need to think about the bill and just medical bankruptcy, which that medical bankruptcy accounts for 50% of the bankruptcies. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. And so you're telling me to save a life, I basically have to go bankrupt to save maybe my daughter's, my son, my husband, my life. I have to go bankrupt. That's ridiculous. And if you're telling me this is not my right, I'm gonna have to disagree. It is my right to be healthy. It is my right to go to the hospital and have someone to depend on and say, it's not right that oh, it's really not right. And if you really do think it's right that, if you think it's not a right, then you might as well, it's easier to say that, you could go in the street and just kill off a couple of people and just lower, the amount of people that, the government has to pay for through unemployment or whatever. Just, it's ridiculous. And it's just, everybody's thinking on a money, money, money kind of standpoint, and it's like annoying. And if people would just admit it, like please just admit it's just about the money, everything be fine. But the thing that bothers me is because everybody's saying, no, it's not about the money because it's not going to be better in the outcome. Oh, long waiting lines and all this stuff. Long waiting. Okay, if I had to pick between long waiting lines and being healthy. You know, they go hand in hand. If I don't really care how long the lines are. I know I'm gonna get there eventually. That's what I care about. The fact if there's a choice between not getting there at all and having to wait in line, I'd rather have the option of where I can wait in line and eventually get there than never being able to afford to even think about going there. Why haven't people thought of that? Like long waiting, like okay, IDK, but I do know actually. That's that's bullshit. I hate that excuse. Long waiting lines. Are you serious? Actually, I think with that kind of universal healthcare, no matter how long the lines are, since we're gonna have people who are able to go check up, you know, it's gonna have a lot of preventive stuff is gonna be stopped, and so anything you have to wait in line for, it's just gonna be, it's not gonna, it's not making a big deal waiting in line. This is America, and I think in America, people just hate doing things, being working harder. So that's why we have drive-throughs. That's why, you know, people are so overweight in this country. You know that if like we everybody lost weight and was at like the weight of like 1991. I read this. I was watching this on one of those NBC, Fox, or what. They were having something on doctors and the minds, and we were just talking about healthcare. Anyways, but they're like, if we went back to the weight of 1991, we save $1 trillion because you know weight. There's a lot of symptoms, you know, that go with the weight gain and all that stuff. Like, oh my God, if there was a way where people could just all have at least basic preventive care, then things that we don't really want to wait for, maybe like surgery, it would be less people who need it. Yeah. Have you ever thought of that? No. You think everybody's going to need surgery and that's why there's going to be long waiting lines? No. The long waiting lines are going to be for preventive care. And you know, they're just going to get it eventually. They're going to get it eventually. Like, it's better than not getting it all. Like, think about it. Not at all and eventually. I'd rather have eventually. And then we can work on making eventually shorter time span. Just like the Great Britain. They've worked on it so that the waiting lines have gotten smaller, it's gone down. Have you guys ever watched the people in Parliament? Like it's very warlike. It's very intense. You know, here it's boring. I would think the British are boring, but they're intense. It's funny. But yeah, I think Americans are generally selfish, and we have this idea that we're not, and we have this idea, oh, everything's equal. No, everything's not equal. We try and say that to make our, you know, country seem, oh, holier than thou, but really, it's just about, you know, pushing to get your way, pushing, fighting, throwing people on the side of the road, just, you know, sacrificing other people to get your way. And that's how it'll be, and that's how it'll always be, because you know, we're human beings. I don't know if I'm being cynical, but I just think other people aren't being cynical enough. They're just not. They're not looking at the facts, bare bones facts. Yes, it's good to have an ideal, but bare bones facts about it is your ideals aren't everybody's. Oh, and there's this thing. I hate it, but I was born here, born in Miami, Florida, American citizen, naturalized. Oh, well, not natural. What's the term? I was born here, so I'm a American. American. But what does American mean? I mean, it's just land. I know it's shiny. It's just land. So a lot of times, if like, you know, I'm less American if I have a point of view that's different, and that's what got on my nerves about Fox. Because Michelle Obama said, oh, she finally had hope in America. Like, the first time in her life, she had hope in America. And he was, like, freaking, like, there's something wrong in saying that. So I have to always be proud. Okay, that seems sort of like, you know, indoctrination or whatever that word is, where you go, American. You're like, you're trying to freaking brainwash us. No, I can have differing opinions. Just because I'm in America doesn't mean I see everything. Woo! Sunshine and rays. No, it's not. People do have differing opinions. Now I have 9 seconds, 8 seconds, you know, going down. I think I'm gonna do a little part 3, a short part 3. So we'll continue to